Namaste and welcome to class. And thank you for sitting with me with undivided attention. And today's class is about 3 steps that the process of detachment will take you. And when you understand this, it will help to have patience that the detachment process, it requires certain steps for you to feel completely clean from the gravity force of any issue or anything that is grasping you. So the first thing that we usually battle with is with the mind, right? Those circular loops that we have constantly about a certain thing. So when we think about what is the mind, and we can find so many different definitions of it. But the way I want to approach it here is the mind arises when it goes out through the senses. So you see something and you get engaged and you give it the value and the meaning and the belief system, and then you get hooked in that. And the mind start giving you conversations. So through the senses you go out. That's what it called the manas. In the Upanishads it's called the manas. And anything that is exteriorizing through the senses, the mind naturally start to engage, and that produce certain state of restlessness. Some rajas start to arise. Oh, I can organize this. This is against me. This is with me. This is not good. This is good, and so on. So you start having some kind of conversations on that. The process of detachment start when those senses start to have a process of introversion. And in here I want to introduce you to 3 terms. Introversion. I don't want to say introspection, but introversion. It means that you start gathering back the senses inwardly instead of the energy going out and you giving them the power to others. And so I feel happy because this person did that to me, or I did that, or my projects are going very well. Right? So all this is exteriorization. So in the process of introversion, intro means to go inside, to a journey inside. And version is that you start creating a different perspective, a different point of view of the events. It goes inside, right? If you can have the image of introversion and everything goes inward, but it have to have this movement of energy inwardly. So this is the mind energy, right? So that's the first step, is that introversion. When you gather the energy back, then it's a silence. It's a silence inside. You are not anymore grasped by the gravitational force of the form, of the illusionary matrix. And that can take some time, some practice. And I will tell you at the end of this video how to do it. What is the tool mainly that you need to do in order to produce the introversion? Then there is another process that I'm calling Intra-conversation. And in the intra-conversation is when you are inside, you are in silence, and in the center of your heart, you do have the pulse of the essence. All the little vast journeys of your soul, all the wisdom of your cycles, all your recollections and memories of your journeys, all the holographic aspect of the one within you is in that essence. And you start them traveling inside and going in, offering a link between that essence and your heart, and from your heart to the chakra system. So if you can imagine 3 worlds. One, the external, okay, you engage, you get all this, your life, your relationships, your environment, etc. Then you go in the process of introversion, you go in, and then another world appears. Another infinite world appears. And your chakra system start to metabolize that in a very different way that you were metabolizing the external. You metabolize through intuition, through silence, through revelations, all at complete different language start to emerge, and you need to learn that. And that is the third step of detachment, when you start having the intra-conversation. Intra means inside. There's not anymore the intro or the journey towards the inside, but it's an establishment inside, your intra, in you. And in that intra-conversation, you start linking with all the cells of your body, which are related to all the 12 organs in the body, to all 12 rays of the Shambhala, to all the 12 signs of the zodiac, etc. So all this intra-conversation is when you only can happen when you are in full state of detachment from the exterior. And you are passing through the different layers of that process. Now, how this happens is that all this dynamics is energy moving in certain direction. And that energy is prana. That energy is the one that is either through your desires and senses or no education, it just go out. It just go out of you. And you start seeing things that are not there, etc. Right? So, but it's the movement of prana that by directing it inwardly, you have that process of intro and intra connection. Saying that, there are certain sequences or patterns of prana to call it, right? It's like to call the energy back and say, no, it's not necessary that you blame this person, or that you don't accept this person the way it is, or that you are lazy, or that you are interpreting things, or that you want to pursue things. He said, no, that process is maturity. You start seeing that the value of the external is not going to give you the peace and the happiness and the state of inner connection that you're desiring. So little by little, in that sequential management of the prana going in, then you meet your chakra system, where the chakras say, well, now what? I have cords with this person, I have emotions with this one, I have entanglement with this one. That is a process of purification, where the cords, instead of just hanging around and hanging outside, start to relinking differently. And that's what is in the process of interconversion, where the chakra system start to relink not only within each of the chakras, but among themselves as well, in relation to the earth and in relation to the sky, which gives a wide range of different cycles and different patterns. So the breath have to go with that. That's why the mastery and the art of putting a sequence in breathing is so important, because the teacher, the master, have to know where you are. It's not going to give you tools that you don't need, or they are not in cohesiveness with the stages of introversion or inter-conversion, or even in your intra-conversations. Now, with this application or understanding of the prana, you need to see that in your brain you have millions of cells that intrinsically are connected to all the parts of the universe, to all parts and dynamics of galaxies, the Andromeda galaxy and Orion galaxy and the Pleiadian galaxy, and so on and so forth. But it's in sequence as well. So there are certain cells, if you can say, okay, the blue cells are alive right now, and the other ones are in dormancy. So you only will be able to have the process of introversion or intra-conversion or intra-conversation in accordance to these brain cells that are available to you. So this change every day, and that pattern change accordingly to your food and your journey, etc. That's why it's so important to do the practices every day, because when you do the practice, you are collecting the prana, you are educating the prana to that particular body of sequence in your brain, in your body. And if you skip one day, that's a cluster of cells that did not get the education, did not get the awareness, did not get the perspective. It will come back in another cycle, maybe in a month, maybe in 12 months, maybe in 3 years, maybe in another incarnation. It will come back for sure, because we are a constant cycle of renovation in all parts in a very precise way. So I leave you with this, and with the encouragement to do the practice every day, and also to have the patience, because everything is in the proper timing. So, but understanding these 3 steps of how detachment work, it can be much easier for you to center and to continue it with your studies. So take note, and I will see you in our next class. Bye for now. Namaste.